Wow, did I know? Yeah. Oh no. What? Why are my cords all messed up here on my desk? Okay, we think we're good. Yo, everybody that's in the gym. Yeah, da, da. Let's see here. Going to look at a few that may have been submitted here at the last minute for critique. Oh. Okay. Can we submit just the map for art direction critique? Yep. Yep. I'm trying to see here. All right, let's see, because a couple of these have been resubmitted with new, some changes. Hey, there we go. Okay. I see quite a few that will address a... Here we go. Let me get this up. Okay, we'll see how these look after we kind of gave some feedback and see how people implemented them. Okay, so one of the things I've had people asking about is whether or not the layout is going to be a factor in judging and everything. Now, that's kind of complicated, and I think that some people might have heard, like, yes, with an asterisk, and thought that it was going to be judged based on who had, like, kind of the most innovative layout, or who, like, was really able to do something that was incredibly flashy. So I'd like to kind of take this one to talk about and kind of catch up on some that I think may have heard that and gone in a very, like, you know, layout and creativity, I guess we'll say heavy direction. And I want to kind of help some people out with kind of understanding, I guess, from the graphic design standpoint, why I think some of these are hurting their overall presentation. So just say you by name next time. No, it's not. It's, trust me, we got a few. So let me see here. So real quick, and there's some of these I can hit real fast. Hey, sorry, I look a little disheveled. I know streaming 6 to 8 hours a night will do that to you, right? All right. So real quick, I wanted to bring this one up. So Lore Keeper Rue, we had talked about Eternity Scorn and helping out with your cover a little bit. I still think that the orange on purple is not contrasting enough to really help you out here. I think that this kind of font choice here at the beginning doesn't really help you out a whole lot. I think that this is this is Allegria, but it's italicized. I would go with something that's bold, not italicized at the beginning. You want people to just be able to really easily read what it is, what's the title, cool, like, let's get to it, right? Gray as your background. I don't know if this is a rendering issue on my side or if you deliberately went with gray as a background. Don't do that. You want high contrast between your text and your page. Gray as the background is really not the direction you should go in. This makes it much harder to read for some people. Especially there's some screen readers that don't have like high contrast like screen. Yeah. I actually think that on Kindle, I don't know what this is going to look like immediately, but I would say that this is most likely going to mute out most everything on screen. I very much advise against ever going with like a gray parchment at any point, because this is just like the middle of the road, kill any contrast color, right? Because now we have this piece of text right here that is kind of getting a little bit lost, right? So we want to go with high contrast there. On the Station of Jeff, this one was submitted by Noah Stavish. I think that your background here, the parchment, could just completely get removed. Completely. Like, if you're going with the black and white, like this right here, you're also going with some fairly bright colors that are going to get lost on white. So there's a lot of ideas that are being had here that are being made because I feel like you have a vision and you might feel a little bit apprehensive into thinking that people won't be attracted to this thing unless it has some flashy, cool art or something like that. Don't let that keep you from making something accessible, right? We're looking for something that has a lot of high utility here. And this, especially with the colors you've chosen here, like this red right here and the purple or like this blue, for certain people that are colorblind, this could get completely lost. I typically advise against color coding whenever we're talking about shades that are like this close to each other, right? Red and purple. Again, I mean, there might be some people that are colorblind in the chat that could tell me, one way or the other. But yeah, this tends to cause some issues, especially whenever you've got it on a gray background like this. This right here, for some colorblind people, might actually completely get lost in that. So I would just advise go with, we were talking about the kind of format. I showed like Jack's yesterday, where it was just literally the template that I provided. This is kind of a mix of that template and what you were doing with what I think is like GM binder, right? So I would again pull back, Tomb of the Huntress. So one of the things that I saw on this one, I'm really, really glad to see they took basically all of our advice and have made something way more clean. I think it got brought down to like 5 pages, right? Yeah, if you're doing color, always desaturate 100% to see if your design is still readable on black and white. Yep. Most people are not printing this stuff on a full color printer. And I say most people, right? They're usually printing this on, they're printing it with toner. So this could get super lost. Yeah. The layout on here is still a little bit busy. Now everything is, we have the, when the variants optimize, okay. So I would advise you to, whenever something's bolded, that needs to clue in on something down here, right? We were talking about this yesterday. I'm trying to remember which dungeon it might have been. It might have been Isle of the what was it? Isle of Green? Wizard of the Isle of Green. We were talking about this a lot on that one. If you go back and watch that particular part of the VOD, you'll see what I was talking about in regards to the stuff that's up here in your text needs to have a keyword down here, right? The pictograph has been simplified. Let's see here. The Huntress. Meets a knight, wizard, and rogue in the forest. The knight, surrounded by a shadow, fights the huntress. Okay. Person is divided in half his left side scene. Okay, there we go. The huntress is vertical pose with the shadow around her swirls as she caught in the vortex. Okay. Okay, now do you have the sequence FC? Okay, there we go. Yep, cool. Alright. And I also try to make sure... Yeah, we said that for a bunch of them. Yeah. I also really try to make sure... double checking on the deadline thing. Is it okay if I submit it after 6 o'clock p.m. tomorrow instead by like 10? I'd really like to have that opportunity now, especially given the fact that you had a family emergency. Okay. We can like... We can try, again, it has the deadline. You can try to get it in as soon as possible, right? You know, we have the deadline coming up tomorrow, so please, if you have the opportunity to, let's get it, you know, get it done. If I start making special exceptions, then there's like not really any reason to like have the deadline anymore. So I can kick it back to like 9 o'clock. But I mean, really, the intent of the deadline isn't just to like, aha, well, we have a bunch of other shit going on. It's to keep people concise, to where they're not really focusing so much on making everything extremely pretty, yada yada yada. Right? Yeah, the deadline is a part of the game jam. You've been a part of Video Game Jam that gave us less than a week. It gets rough. Yep. So this is one that we haven't actually taken a look at quite yet. I will get back to this because I do have this one up. This one's from Winston. I just wanted to mention there's a couple things with the layout here that I would highly recommend changing. Your art is causing your text to break and go over into the other column. This is happening really consistently with the art choices that you've made here. With the art choices here, I don't know that they're really contributing enough to the overall package of your dungeon to really continuously to justify them breaking up your layout like this, right? The art should be complementing the text, and instead what it's doing right now is breaking it up. So if it's causing an issue like that, we try to figure out a way to do something else with it, right? This is part of the layout gig. You have the at the graveyard section here that could very easily slot in right here. And then this whole section right here, A2, the mausoleum, could just be this other column. And the trophy room, I'm willing to bet, I almost bet you could get the trophy room and maybe the equipment room also on this page right here. I really love getting a product where, like, it's... Okay. Whenever you're getting into third-party stuff, take this advice from a guy that's been doing this for 8 years now. Your page count only matters to your printer. Okay? Really early on, whenever I was, like, making third-party, I used to think that, like, people just wanted bigger, fatter books, and if I don't have, like, stuff that's occupying every page and taking up my page count, people don't want to, like, you know, check it out or whatever. That's a bad habit. It's a really bad mindset to get into, so I would try to break that right now. People are going to come back to you more often if they find that the stuff that you have has a lot of utility at their table versus they find your stuff and it looks really pretty, right? Knowing how to find that right balance between good layout and, like, I guess we could say, you know, the appealing package of it all, right? The art, making everything look really pretty. There comes a point where too much art just sort of makes the thing cluttered. So I try to cut back on that, right? You're submitting something for, you know, to see the utility of it and the execution of the concept, not really to sell it as a product to the judges, right? So that's what I'd recommend, is start cutting back on the artwork that you have in here to make sure it lays out really easily, right? I like that you did take the suggestion of doing the hex crawl, because I feel like that's way more like that's way more hunter kind of evoking what you were going for, right? One of the first things I just noticed was it seems like a lot of paths lead to this area, but it doesn't seem like this hex is actually labeled. So I'm not sure. B1, B2, B3. Wait, so you have B1. And then there's a return. So I'm guessing that's intentionally not labeled. I guess, yeah, just my first thoughts on that. I think it already looks way more interesting as this, like, limited hex crawl here. That feels really unique and like something that is going to make this thing really stand out. Again, though, one of the other issues with this is going to be your color palette. Whenever you go to do this for print or like whatever you wind up doing this with, I very highly suggest a black and white map. I know a lot of us will see like 5e books or Pathfinder books, and we think that our art production needs to be at like the crazy quality of, you know, multi-$1,000 art budgets or whatever. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Do I have a general rule of thumb for text versus art, or is it more intuitive? That question still feels really vague. If you could be more specific on that, I might be able to help you out with that. Like text versus art, that could be like, should you have more text, should you have more art, or where should the text lie versus where should the art lie, or what should I prioritize, text or art as a percentage? I don't know what that means. Like a percentage of the page, you know what I mean? So like, is it focus on the text and the content first, art can come after that to fill in the gaps? Yep. I want you all to see something real quick. Okay, here is quantity on the page. That's all dependent on the utility and purpose of the page. Okay, here's... And again, like, I'm only showing this because I've been through this and I'm trying to give an example of, like, what I'm talking about, and the easiest thing for me to show is, like, my work as to what, like, I'm kind of talking about here. Okay, so here's Vagabond's playtest, right? Why does it do this? Adobe... Sorry, there's gonna be a little flash every once in a while over here. It's a weird glitch with Acrobat right now. So if you look at this one, right, I like that right there. That's what I'm talking about. So if you look at this, there's not a whole lot of art right up front, right? I tried to deliver like, what is the important text right here? This is telling people what this game is even about, right? This is getting people a preview of what is the idea of this system, right? These are the touchstones right here. A reason why I couldn't use art over here is because it's literally copyright material too, right? Basics. I am most likely going to leave this one open because I want a spot for Maxwell to draw some dice, okay? So that's intentionally me leaving a spot open as a placeholder, right? Position and targets, I think in here I might be able to show like another example of it. What the hell, Acrobat, what are you doing? I might be able to show another example in here of like the dungeon like scale, and that would be just an example of a diagram, right? I'm not just kind of looking around for additional art to throw in there to make it look pretty, right? As I got a bit more critical and like active in the third-party scene around like third-party products, honestly, here's the deal. Some people are going to hate hearing this. If I see a lot of art in a thing, I tend to think that there's not a lot of utility to it. Okay? Like, it tends to be if I see a lot of art, that makes me think that this person doesn't know how to use the art tastefully. Or the art might not have a purpose, right? They're just kind of using it to decorate things instead of having it actually serve a utility, right? So like in the combat sections, something making an attack might help out here. Me personally, I don't know that it really needs all that, so I'm thinking to just maybe ignore it for here. Like, I don't think that all the conditions and everything need that, because here's the text right here, laid out, quick, easy, we know what to get to, right? However, whenever we get into, there we go, ancestries, right? Yes, they want to know what the ancestries look like, right? For a lot of art but done well, you suggest looking at Merkborg. Yeah. Um, oh, their dungeons, that is. Yeah. The dungeon specifically, the rulebook is very, very overblown, and that's by intent. There's a bit of shock with it in a sense that I think kind of plays into the game itself. But see, so like ancestries, these are placeholders for the moment. Another ancestry piece, right? Ancestry pieces right here, right there, right? So these are all serving a purpose. These are letting people know, like, oh, okay, here's like an example of what this could look like, right? Yeah, Raw Black Sludge is a sick dungeon layout. Here, we'll open that one up. Da-da-da. Rules reference, where is? That's bare bones. English second printing. All right. Borg. Okay, scrolling through. Oh yeah, by the way, I scheduled this. I'm confirming again tomorrow morning, but we have Johan Noor coming onto the stream tomorrow, the guy who did the layout for Merkborg. All right. See, look at this. Random encounters, right? No thanks. Random encounters, right? That's all handled right up here, up in front. The utility of it, the organization of the information, things the seer might see. These are almost like hooks in a way, almost like a rumors table. Here's the intro right here. You face execution for heretical theft by but a masked seer, a courtier of the Shadow King, offered you a chance at life. The king's one true heir, his son Alden, is missing. Without an heir to the Shadow King, the Shadow King will eventually be forced to hand his crown to his imbecile brother. Get him back discreetly, and wealth, life, and freedom will be yours. It's believed Alden is imprisoned in an infamous underground locale, a place no free man would willingly go, a place called the Accursed Den. Okay? Boom! Cake. Throw that in there, right? These are rumors, essentially, right here. Things that the seer might see, you know. D4 random encounter table right there. Look at this. Guys, this isn't an ENnie winning book, okay? As far as the industry goes, don't worry. Don't let 5e layout be the example for how you do your material, right? If you keep imitating 5e material, it's just going to fall away and kind of float into the muck of all the other stuff that is imitating the 5e material, right? If you oversaturate it with art that doesn't have a utility here, it's going to kind of fall away into the muck and mire, right? There are simple illustrations, right? Slumbering skeleton. There's this idea over here. It's not getting into the way of any of the text, right? Eat the butterflies is always so funny to me. Another one right up here, right? It's beside the map. You see how the map is still serving its utility? You see how the rooms are highlighting? We have a HUD everywhere we go, right? 1 and 2. These are the rooms that they're in. You see how there's no tactical grid to this? Right? Yeah. We were just talking about it last stream. Isn't that an Eno shirt? Yeah, it's Tommy A. Yeah. So the heads up is giving you, boom, boom. Here's the rooms that they're currently in right now. This is an even more simplified version of this map over here. You see that? How, like, this one goes kind of hard on the details, and then this one over here is clean, because they knew that if they shrunk this map down, it gets murky, and they cleaned up the rooms, right? See, as we go through, a different room is highlighted each time, and whenever these bits of, like, pictures or whatever are here, they're small off to the side and not conflicting or competing for territory with any of the big rooms. This right here, this is not competing with the space for the other big rooms at all. This all ends right here, and there's no text wrapping to force anything around, all the art, all the art here, if it's art on your page and it's like kind of there to decorate it, it should not get in the way of any of the text that's required to run the dungeon. The more that it starts to like wrap and bend around that stuff, it hurts your accessibility, right? So there's another image over here. Chain room. See, notice consistently how while we go through the dungeon, they're staying consistent with what rooms are highlighted. You all don't have to do that because I know that this requires a little bit of knowledge of either Photoshop or like Illustrator, you know. There's a method to doing this that I don't actually think that Johan applied here. No, these are done in Photoshop because I can see, yeah, there's the outer edges to that. Yeah, so he just went in Photoshop and made a separate image each time. See, the way I've been doing it in Illustrator is I export that. Here, I'll show you. This might mean absolutely zero to anybody, but here's at least the way that I've been doing this for dungeons I've been working on. So over in Illustrator, I make the map. I should probably pull up Illustrator at the same time to give you guys a clue as to what I've got going on there. I need to clean out this computer. It's making some horrible noises. Okay. Okay, so there's an old adventure that Ross and I wrote for the Dungeon Masters Guild a while ago called Profanity of Stone. And whenever I first started in on Vagabond, I knew I was going to need adventures. And so I asked Ross if it would be cool if like I did that as a Vagabond thing. And if you'll take a look, this is one of the things I've been working on here. So here's the dungeon map, right? I'm actually trying to make this smaller and figure out a way to kind of set this in the page somewhere else. But as you can see, the rooms get highlighted. I'm only showing one map down here, and then there's multiple rooms either on, you know, whatever side. I'm looking for the excuse to save page space for the text, right? We go over here, this room is highlighted, yada yada yada, right? So whenever the way that I'm doing this actually in Illustrator is going to seem a little bit complicated. Ignore this over here for the most part, okay? Because what it is I draw the shape of the building using shapes or strokes. Okay, so I do something like this, right? Make sure there we go. Now, I'll make sure that all the strokes are an equal width. Let's go there and there. Sure. I'll make sure that all the strokes are like an equal width. I think this is probably about there. And then after I have a generalized shape of something that I like, let's go here. Let's say, I don't know, I want a room over here. Whatever. How about over here? Sure. Up here. And then let's throw in, I don't know, a weird shaped room just because. Yeah, I don't know. This map is not supposed to be pretty, all right? So, I'll merge these two shapes. Okay. Whatever, we can deal with that. Okay. Now, this over here, maybe it's some kind of spire. Tower it'll connect to, maybe. I don't know. So, once I've done that, I've got my shapes here. How about we'll merge these two as well, just to make sense of this, I guess. I actually go up over here into Object, Expand. I turn those lines into shapes. You see that? So these are all actually one big merged continuous shape. If I didn't correct it, this is going to bother me. And I know this isn't going to be perfect. Hang on. There. Here? I think here looks better. Yes. Okay. So then, now that I have this shape right here, click this, cut, ungroup. Now I have 4 separate shapes, so I know that, like, hey, if they're in this room right here, I can take that over into InDesign and show you how this gets even cooler. Okay, let's do the way that I was just doing doors was something like this. I do white and black. Okay. Got it. Oh, come on. Do this over here. Let's put a door right here. Maybe distract people, right? Okay. Take this. Take this. Copy. Go over into InDesign. Working a lot faster in vector stuff today? Fuck off! Go over here. Okay. Now, ungroup it. And now I have these separate shapes that I can edit. And to go from room to room, oh, what do you know? Right? Because those are all separate shapes, I can now color wherever it is that they want to go. Indicate that with the map however I'd like to indicate it. Right? Yeah. So this is one way to possibly do it. It's at least the way that I've been trying to apply it. I've been battling with whether or not I was going to do that for this one because I was trying to make a system neutral version of White Plume Mountain. But I've been applying it to smaller dungeons because I think it looks good. And yeah. Okay, now we close out of those. Because I think I just need to clean the computer because it's making some odd noises. It's interesting to see the process. You haven't used Illustrator in many years, and the process is quite different than those. Affinity. Okay. Now, so the reason I was kind of getting into that is because I think that this map would probably be better served as a black and white hex crawl. There is a lot of color on your page right now that if I go to print this here, actually, let's do that. So I can give you a good example as to why you would do this. We just want page 6. Okay. Custom. And another reason I'm doing this is because my printer is running slightly low on toner, and this is something you have to be aware of. That was a fun aside. Oh, yeah, totally. Okay. I'm gonna go get this out of my printer real quick. Hi. Yeah. This illustrated exactly what I was trying to get it to do. He's wearing pants this time? Yeah. Okay. So if you print this on black and white, or like if you're doing this and you do your map on black and white, and you use, you know, white for the map terrain itself. You see what I mean? Oh god, what happened? Nothing. It's Ken giving me shit. If you use the white as the background for your map, it's a lot easier to read, especially whenever you have colors that are that close to each other and will print out as just shades of gray and not even really clear shades of gray. if I stand away from this, like this is on the table, and I'm looking at it as a game master, the last thing I want to do is have to bring that up and see like that edge. Okay, right? So keep it clean, black and white. Works out really, really well. I still think a lot of the layout here can be simplified. I think that despite it, so like you currently got it at an 8-page thing, you might be able to get this so low that it's like a 5 or 6. You know, I genuinely think this could be reduced down to, yeah, like this map right here. I don't think it needs all this detail, you know. And again, whenever we go to print this one, it might wind up getting really, really murky. So there's that. Those are my kind of thoughts as the finals have been kind of coming in. I'm seeing a couple of these maps that are getting turned in where there's like very poor contrast. So I would just try to focus on making black and white, keep it simple and clean, right? All right, so all right. This one is from Winston. Fixing your map now. Yeah. Okay. So this is Alchemy Dungeon. I don't know if you have a name for it just yet. Okay. So we saw this preview the other day. I do like the idea around the folds. I think layout wise, this is feeling like the Merkborg style. You do have this kind of happening right here, where it seems like this JPEG is kind of coming down below it. I don't know if that was like a rendering issue or something. The scratch out hit the calls, yes. So you're very familiar with the Borg style, and voice, right? So we told like the Overseer. Okay, so we is gonna take a look at your okay. Cool. Okay. Right. I think that this paper background, this paper kind of like cardboardy looking parchment, the pulp, this is not going to print well. I think if you were using this for like sidebars as like torn, you know, yeah, here's the torn and destroyed kind of like side notes or something like that, that could be really cool. But I think as a general parchment background, it's gonna be so murky. And you even like with the Merkborg style, that like you really want to focus on readability, right? Part of the ethos behind Merkborg and its overall look is the ease of people to like print it and use it as they would like, right? And I think I just don't really think I'm not a big fan of beige parchment, like even as a light beige parchment. I'm really not a fan of this dark of a parchment at all. And black is still going to be hard to read on this, which you've been using the whites like over the top of it, right? I just highly suggest going with something other than this brown paper bag parchment here. Okay, so let me see here. Plot hooks. Note that the outside of the dungeon is not described in detail. This is allow you to place it anywhere you wish. Along it can be entered from side and from above. People drinking the well water have been getting sick and dying. Everyone suspects the alchemist to be responsible. The alchemists have been exhuming corpses from local graveyards. Everyone wants to return their dead to their rightful resting place and have pitched for a reward. Reanimated and bombed corpses attacked the local peasants recently, or the locals. Where did I get peasants from? There's only one group of individuals who could be responsible, the local alchemists. Okay. Legend to be completed after review. Okay. Okay. So there gets to be we were kind of talking about writing patterns where like sometimes it's not something that would be meant for home printing, but it's also fairly important for me for this one specifically because of medical trash. I mean, you know, so my critique is mostly based around usability. If you go really hard into the like, so as artists and as writers, we have to make some sacrifices to make sure that our art is like accessible, right? We're constantly making this fight for like whether or not the thing that we like is digestible, and if it held up to the integrity of the message that we were delivering, right? I would highly suggest like this doesn't have to be your one and only piece that represents that idea, you know. You're like, okay, well, this is medical waste or something that it's this was, you know, maybe there could be something else that would be better served as this, right? Because right now I don't really know that, and it just sort of seems like a brown paper bag parchment, right? So if the idea is that this is medical waste and this is the thing that is like conveying the idea of it, then like I don't think that this is really helping, right? You have to make sure that the media supports the medium, you know. I don't know that the brown paper parchment is really supporting that medium. So I would say kind of clean up the repetition that might be happening in here a little bit, right? Stuff like the alchemists have been exhuming, you know, maybe think of if this is a specific cult, then like maybe they have a name that we could reference here and, you know, break that up a little bit. Rumors, 2d6 per party, true or false. Embalming is very important to the alchemists. They do it to honor their god. Okay, getting to the entrance makes your eyes sting and gives you a headache. The cult's gear protects you from the magical hexes that cause it. Okay. The alchemists conduct vile experiments to create monsters. You can sneak in from a temple via its ventilation system. The alchemists don't use torches because they see it, the use of fire as primitive and backwards. They sneak out at night to exhume corpses from local graveyards. They believe only they are capable of providing a proper burial. Okay. Also, the second part of the denizens page is important. The uncadavers, the fruits of the cult's horrible experiments, been replaced by scaly white discolored leather and blood, replaced by formalin and reanimation fluid. Surprisingly intelligent, yet they are incapable of speech. They are mindless and crave violence in all forms. Feldit, a journeyman alchemist who joined a cult solely for his love of funerary rite. One day while operating the control room, he heard Oxley's song, brought it up when he heard his alchemist brothers. He was placed in a rehabilitation cell. Desires to discover the truth of the source of the song, to master the art of corpse preservation. Tolmec the Overseer, the epitome of a pathetic sycophant. Though not his first student, Tolmec has been under Kuthar's tutelage the longest. He has no qualms against anything done at the direction of Kuthar, and makes it a daily goal to do something to earn his gratitude. Verbally abusive to lower rank cult members, incredibly incompetent, but kept around by Kuthar for his loyalty. Please, Kuthar, that was this guy over here. Right, yeah. Okay. So this up here, the way that you got the text up here, fantastic. See the parchment that you have it on, it is broken up. The folds, I think, help it to distribute the information in a way that was like, whenever I first saw it, very like, oh, interesting. I think that the parchment here is really complementing what you have on the text, right? That's the problem. That gets to be a problem down here because now it's, you have to overlay the white to make it like, don't have the map quite yet. Airborne exposure does, okay, airborne exposure. Make a con save or suffer irritation. Smarting pains, adding minuscule difficulty to actions. Uncontrollable crying at dose 2. I guess I would ask, I haven't read any further, so I'm just kind of looking. So this is specifically to formaldehyde exposure. Okay. So like if they have a dose of this, I guess I would ask how they might be dosed with it, and I'm guessing that's probably going to come up in the adventure in some way. Okay, there we go. This would probably be leaning in on a bit more hyper simulation, or I say hyper simulation, a bit more simulation elements than what I think is typical for this kind of a style of dungeon, right? Take 2 hit die. Okay. 2 HD damage. I think either you mean 2d8 here, or this only needs to be 1 hit die damage. I think. Heavy coughing and sensation of flushing. So for your respiratory system, you can't move or attack on the same turn. And I guess these are cumulative. And if you track anything really like in a game up above like 6, honestly, it's if you track it up above 3, it starts to kind of feel like people are gonna get a little bit lost in that. And now we've got we have stages getting represented here, or ranks or levels of a thing. No, only based on the room level. Wait, this? Respiratory tract injury and rooms have levels of dosage? That would be an element that I'm not really sure hits the vibe that what we're going for with this. There's now a wait, the first sentence indicates the doses by concentration in the area. By airborne amount. Okay. I might even put in text like maybe as indicated by the area right here, because we've seen this first and we haven't seen like the areas quite yet. But even still, I think that this is a rather granular kind of a dungeon like mechanic we've gotten here. Okay, pure formaldehyde can only freeze at 92 degrees Celsius, at negative 92, okay. Formalin, okay. Solution of formaldehyde freezes at maybe frozen. Yeah, actions by the players. This is where this is getting into the high simulation territory, where I feel like because of the way that this is written, this may have a mechanic over here, but I'm like, I just kind of feel like I'm being kind of instructed on the rule or on the laws of physics around formaldehyde. And I think like thinking about it in terms of like a game mechanic. Okay, well, what does negative 92 degrees Celsius mean in like basic expert terms? You know, what is that conveying? Kind of nothing, you know, like extreme cold, you know. So like thinking about it as like, what are the game mechanics you can tell people for this thing that's meant to be run with a game, you know? And like, that's not really telling me much that I would apply unless we were going with a system that uses extremely high simulation elements like that, right? I think especially with this, like, the lowest recorded weather on Earth is negative 89 degrees Celsius. This, yeah, maybe us, X amount of cold damage isn't measured. Maybe, yeah. Um, with the passage of it being colder than the coldest weather, wait. Coldest weather is, it can never be frozen by typical means. Um, like, maybe? But, like, if that's the case, then, like, that needs to be the only thing that's in here. Like, you know, that, there's, formaldehyde can't be frozen. Maybe something like that. Yeah, tell them that instead of putting a temperature, right? Yeah. Like, because if you get that specific, it doesn't mean anything to game mechanic. This is all left up to, like, interpretation, and the more and more we live up to interpretation, the more and more we get a very adversarial type of table. You want the rules to be the thing that stands, the thing that arbitrates questions about how something interacts, not like a pause to determine something in the middle of it, right? You're watching through the critiques and you would like to know where you can find the guidelines for submissions just to help me design your own system neutral admin. Oh, yeah. Hang on one sec. Yeah. It's in our resources. The system neutral guideline and template. Copy link. No. That's right. Right? You're looking for... Oh, no, you're all good. There we go. Yeah, it's... I put that out on Twitter, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago. But yeah, that should help you out right there. Okay. So I would... Going back to this, I would try to root it more and more and more into thinking about game mechanics, not necessarily delivering a bunch of, like, you know, real world ideas about, like, how this works, you know? Well, discoloration of skin, smarting pains, and formation of dry, cracking scales on the skin. Take 1 hit die. Oh, wait. 1d4 of damage that can only be healed by magical means. Usually an exposed skin becomes leather. Damage cannot be undone. Okay, so I think your Merkborg inspirations are clashing with the idea of system neutrality here. Because Merkborg leans in really heavy on the, like, this thing hits and this fucks you up, and that's like something that can't be undone because that's part of the system, right? You'll just like lose a toe because you talked to the wrong guy in Merkborg, right? And with this right here, this feels more of that voice, because like this saying that kind of conflicts with, like, this is a hard override to a lot of Magic and other systems right there, you know? You threw your back out and you binged the first 4 videos in the series. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear about that, but damn, I'm glad to be, like, helping you through a really, really shit time. Well, I hope you get better, Pete, and thanks for hanging out with us and watching all the other VODs. So hard coding in things like this can't be undone, or like things like that. Also, this is a lot of no design. I have been talking about this with, I don't remember what the dungeon was. I think this was like 2 or 3 nights ago, where I was also seeing a lot of no design, right? Hang on. Oh, man. Doing the James also got you through being sick partly. Well, good, good. Glad to give people some shit to do. So this is a lot of no design, where it's kind of saying, no, this can't be done, right? No, it can't heal this. No, it can't, you know, and that really goes against the antithesis of, or I guess it is the antithesis of what it means to be like kind of system neutral, right? Yeah. You remember the no design? You remember? Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it might have been Cobalt Keep if I remember right, but yeah. So yeah, try to look for more places to say yes than places to say no. Okay, formaldehyde continuously releases vapor itself and it's highly flammable. However, its liquid form is not. Ventilation system ignition. If open flames are ever brought close enough to formaldehyde vapors while the ventilation system is active, the following happens. Immediate explosion dealing D8 damage to those near the point of ignition. The ventilation system and control center are destroyed. The cistern is engulfed in flames and Flexhole dies. The vat room and cistern slowly increase their airborne dose levels. Kuthar loses his shit. Okay. So, you might say, like, I mean, because this is a match ending your entire dungeon, right? So you might reduce this down. I mean, if we're talking about a gas-filled, like this is a gas-filled dungeon, right? No, only a secret boss and room. Okay. You might highlight specifically what areas that affects, right? So it says the ventilation system and control center, but like without the map, I don't know what that would be, right? So you might get specific enough, because even if people have your map, you're going to have people that are just like, I don't know what this is indicating right here. But if you spell it out in text, you can at least go like, it's this, and this, right? How would you signpost this effect? Right? Yeah. Like the smell, maybe. You could say the smell, maybe they're seeing the vapors in the air, something like that, or other creatures are dead because they've just inhaled so much of it that they suffocated, maybe. But yeah, something, it would be helpful to see that something that could be this potentially devastating and like kind of wreck a branch of your dungeon, it should probably be given some kind of a heads up. You'll be you'll be sure to judge the exact opposite of anything Indestructoboy says for spite. Yeah, you know, I mean, we got to bring in conflicting ideas, right? Like that's what makes the world go round. I don't need a bunch of yes men. I need my no men. And Cat is a gnome man. Flame spurts outside can work. Yeah, something like that, you know. Or give them a way that they could experiment to find out whether or not, right? You just spit coffee, thanks. Hey. You know, you could have, and this could be a part of one of your rumors. It's flammable. I feel like the players should get at least some kind of an indicator, like maybe once or twice. Or like 2 opportunities rather to potentially see this thing. Like there's some cultists that are outside. Maybe if you're going with Merkborg, they're smoking some kind of a drug or something like that. And as one of them pulls out this flask, the other ones at the time that one of them strikes a match, the flask explodes in their hands and like covers them with like flame and you know something like that. That's very Merkborg, right? There's a group of cultists that are Um, I don't know. It being they're lighting bottles of the shit on fire and throwing it at people out from the outside or something, right? Yeah. So the waterfall, formerly waterfall, clear and thin, flows directly into a grate. Emanates airborne formaldehyde dosage 1. Okay, flows into grate that form. This. You might. Because now we have something that's referring to something over here. Okay. Flows into a grate that drains the chemical. See-through and thin, falls directly into drainage gate. I guess that's the waterfall property, right? Scrolling on the outside wall says it's not water. Uses to turn the flow on and off. Can be adjusted from... Okay. So with the format that we were talking about, your description right here, I know you were saying you were really inspired by Rot Black Sludge. I love this adventure, by the way. I love Rot Black Sludge. This is a very, very cool light load dungeon that is perfect for Merkborg. But it would require more interpretation for system neutrality. And the other part of it is like, yeah, the lit oil lantern hangs from the ceiling. These are beats that are important to mechanics in the room, right? This feels a bit like kind of prepping information that would be used as maybe answers, or maybe just to keep kind of talking about this beat, you know? The waterfall is a way. I also love the idea of players being introduced via some dumbass setting themselves alight. Yeah, something like that. Like, it all depends on the vibe that you're going for, but if it is that Merkborg kind of voice, then I think, like, it always helps to have your, you know, your goblin, here's the way I look at it, right? If I'm running a Merkborg adventure, I try to think of, like, every enemy is essentially what a goblin would be like in D&D, or like Magic the Gathering, right? D&D goblins are a bit too, like, pulled back towards, like, this is going to be they're going to be just another, like, human-like race. Whereas I look at, like, goblins in Magic the Gathering, and they're chaotic, bomb-lobbing, you know, whatever gremlins, right? And that's hilarious. I love that. Merkborg takes it to a different level with their goblins, and as a compensation, the rest of the world kind of feels like it's brought to the level of what the other goblins are, right? Yeah, your Merkborg games always evolve into Borderlands-style worlds. Yes, yeah. You're supposed to, like, just sort of let the chaos loose with this game. There's people that are like, oh, it seems so lethal to me, and I'm like, that's fucking hilarious, you know? Only put the potential answer to waterfall, as it's really hard to think of a way to get past it without magic. Well, if that's the case, and it's like, I think that this is really evocative, maybe just let it be an evocative scene, and it's not a thing that's necessarily barring entry per se. Like, this might not have to be your go-to, like, guardian, right? Or, especially if they play this in Merkborg, you're definitely going to see this happen, where they just draw straws and someone's going to run through the waterfall. Like, yeah, people that have been playing Merkborg for a while, someone knows, like, hey, look, the answer to this is just one character sheet away, alright? And that's what they're going to do. So, like, if you keep kind of constantly seeing that maybe that's a problem, maybe this doesn't need to be your answer, right? So, if you have it set in stone that it's like, this is the guardian that you really, really want to go with, right? If this is the guardian you really want to, really want to go with, and the solution to it is just sort of a valve that's on the other side of the waterfall, I can think of a couple different ways in which people might try to manipulate that. 10-foot pole is always an answer, right? If they have a ladder, which, like, probably not likely in Merkborg, but whatever. They're going to be asking distances. If I've been playing, like, look, you want to see some of the people that are going to push your boundaries as far as, like, thinking of shit that you didn't think that you could really do with D&D. You ought to watch some fucking Vietnam War vets play D&D. Because those guys, like, Jim Davis on WebDM was talking about this years ago, where he DM'd at, like, a VFW. And, wait, VFW, is that right? No. Shit. Oh my god, I feel like such an idiot right now. Is that it? VFW? No, that's right. Yeah. He was at a VFW post or something like that. And he DM'd with a bunch of Vietnam War vets. And, you know, so they were asking about what was the premise behind the dungeon, what were they meant to go in there and do. And they built their characters. No, somebody asked him, do we have to go with the starting equipment that's in our character, or on our class? And Jim was like, no. And so they spent like the next hour just toiling over buying starting equipment, right? And each of the guys decided that like the best equipment that they could get for this mission was a war dog and flasks of alchemist oil, or alchemist fire. There we go. And they were like, okay, so we're all gonna roll up. I think they, like, a lot of them like spec'd into like animal control. You know, like maybe they were Beastmaster, whatever. And we're essentially just controlling the war dogs to go in and get, like, hunt the kobolds out from whatever. Because I think if you look at like the Mastiff stat block versus a kobold stat block, Mastiffs kind of fucked them up pretty hard. Mastiff 5e. I'm trying to remember exactly how this went. Yeah, like a Mastiff is gonna fuck up a kobold. So if they're looking at it as each of them went and got a kobold, or went and basically bought a kobold, you know, do they have pack tactics? Honestly, they don't really need it all that much. I mean, kobolds do, yeah. The Mastiffs don't really need it, honestly. Like, especially if you get them barding, they're fine. Like, they're fine. And they just sent the war dogs in to go and, like, bring the goddamn, like, hunt the kobolds and bring them out. And then as the kobolds were running away from the Mastiffs, these guys were just chucking, like, alchemist fire at them, right? Because alchemist fire has the specifics of, like, it doesn't, what was it? Yeah, so alchemist fire doesn't actually end unless you take the action to put it out. So, like, if they're not taking that action, they're just going to keep continuously catching on fire or whatever. It's, yeah. Anyways, so, like, people will think of whatever kind of bizarre, subversive ideas. And your job as, like, a quest creator, like an adventure writer, is going to just be to give them problems, right? You're not really, if you're doing the idea already of trying to give them an answer real quick, don't be thinking about your answer as much as you're thinking about the problem, you know? That's a big thing. I am constantly thinking whenever I'm writing up an adventure, what are the problems I can come up with? What are the interesting problems, right? So if you're already thinking ahead of the solution, your problem isn't going to be interesting because you've already given them the answer, right? So, like, what is this problem? So we have a waterfall, and this waterfall would, like, burn their skin or do whatever. Okay. So why would this waterfall? What is its purpose, right? It's to block off the entryway, or is this to be like a showpiece? What you could also do is say that there's guards here. And the guards, maybe they have some kind of contraption set up to where, like, if there's intruders that are like coming up over this ledge or doing something, whatever, they have a switch that they can flip that will like, okay, here, yeah, I'm just gonna throw this one out, right? Like, what if it's like a rickety wooden bridge, and as the players are like coming up along the side of it, let's say it's like on the side of this mountaintop that leads up to the waterfall, this is like the one entrance they can see for sure. And if they get up there, there's like two guards that are just like, oh, okay. And then they flip this switch, and then these the party actually slides like down directly into the waterfall. Or it's something like that, you know? You wanted to ask not to put the answer, but when you couldn't think of an answer, when I asked you on a previous stream, you couldn't think of. Wait, I wanted to not put the answer, but when you couldn't think of an answer, when I asked you on a previous stream, you couldn't think of. Well, yeah, I'm also not the one playing with a character sheet at the moment. Like, you know, like, yeah. I'm not the one kind of being like put on the, like, presented with the situation right now, right? So I also know that if there's a guardian that seems that intense, or like maybe we can't think of a reason for that, this is another reason why we would Jaquays a dungeon, where like, okay, there's this thing right there, and this thing seems like it would be an obstruction to move forward with it. So how do we get past this? Is there maybe another way that we could get into it, right? And just that mere mindset of like, let me look around, you know. So you have this other entrance in here, but again, it kind of feels like we rushed in to give an answer of, well, there's a valve. So if I'm presented with this situation at a table, and the DM is like, so you see that there's a waterfall there that seems to be flowing with some kind of an odd gas, and on the other side of a waterfall, you can see a valve behind it. Well, okay, to me as a player, I'm already kind of like, oh, well, it's the valve right there. So like we have to get to that valve. And so there's not really me being encouraged to think of a solution, right? It's like the problem's been presented in front of me, and yet I know that that's the only answer to it. We have to get to that right there, right? Trying to think, like, if that valve just turns the waterfall off and on. So I could see, like, in my mind, the first time I was thinking of this, I was like, okay, valve as in, like, rotating big wheel valve that you have to turn. And then I was like, well, what if it's like a sink valve? And then if we just flip this switch, then the waterfall goes off. I mean, I would try to think of other ways that this could potentially be interacted with. Maybe. Because, like, it just sort of feels like it's either this is the way you do this, or you go look for a different entrance. And I don't know that there's a lot being left up to, like, interpretation here. And that's what I would encourage, is, like, try not to bottleneck this, right? Maybe instead of just the one, there's, like, also another potential solution here. So if you add maybe one or two other subversions to, like, the problem, maybe that could, you know, expand it out a little bit. But again, at the same time, don't focus so hard on your solutions, because I think now we've only got the one solution. I got a question. What does control water do? Is the answer just going to be that, well, it's not water, so it doesn't work? I'm kind of curious about that. Remain its part water, so it would. Um, see, so something is left up to interpretation there. The less and less you leave up to like interpretation, and the more you secure in things like that, the stronger your concept is going to be, right? So like if they could control or destroy water here, essentially the thing that you've got here now is there's a valve there that they can either do this or not. God, but this feels more like a wall to me than an interaction, right? Because either they're going to pay the hit point tax, they're going to flip this valve. In order to flip this valve, they're going to have to pay the spell magic cost, the magic tax. There we go. And control or destroy water, have the right thing prepared, or they pay the time tax and they kind of go look around somewhere else, right? So keep this in here. This is fine. This is absolutely fine. I wonder if if you put some guards out in front of it and they're like standing out here by the waterfall, is it the smartest thing in the world? No, but I mean, I don't think that these cultists are probably going to be the smartest dudes in the world. Wait, uncadavers. Right. So maybe some of these guys out in front, where if they're like, if the party is just like, dude, we can't hear you over the sound. Like, what? We can't hear you. What are you talking? And then if these guys like turn off the waterfall, where it's like, we said, and then your party pops them with arrows while they do that, right? Like, I think that could be kind of funny. You leave them with like a social interaction potential element for your guardian. The passageways seem to be good. I would say make sure that these are labeled with the numbers for the area that they're going to, right? Let's see. Because you were saying that Rot Black Sludge inspired a lot of this. Rot Black Sludge also has, it makes sure that it's, it does have its doors and everything here. I would still list your areas. I still think that like listing your areas is like just good practice. Yeah. Vat room. Okay. 4 huge vats with viewing ports and canister injection machines. Lift lever up to turn on and pull to turn off flow. Large canisters. Okay, what do the vats do? That's my question. Vats. Viewing ports to canister injection machines. Overlooking area accessible by ladder valves and piping. Overseen by Toolmac from the control center. Unreleases the cadavers from the cells if he spots somebody not in protected gear. Okay. So the vats contain the uncadavers, and it took me until this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the important thing to this seems to be that it's vats that contain uncadavers, right? So if I were to write this, I would probably put something like there's 4 vats, right? Like maybe 4 uncadavers sit in separate vats in this room. And then your uncadavers would be the encounter that potentially comes up, right? Vats contain formaldehyde. You're, oh, from the cells. Okay, wait, okay. Okay. But my thing is, whenever I'm reading, like, up here, I want this to tell me, give me a good summary. Give me, like, bam, deliver the information as quick and concise as possible. Give me the summary, so that I know what I need to be looking out for in the metadata tags down here, right? Directions all seem fine. I'm not sure what the difference is indicating here. Is there a reason why you're using that arrow and not these arrows? Because it's like ladder, ramp, metal ladder, ramp. This is what 10-foot poles are for. Because, like, if there was a difference between that, double arrows up down, maybe? I think if we would have the map, it would be easier to parse out. Well, one is up and down, the others are cardinal. Oop. Yeah, but what is it conveying, right? So is it that we can move from like separate floors? But the mere fact that it's different from the others makes me think that it's supposed to be used for something different, right? If it's just like, well, you could do either or, like, then, I mean, all of these directions could also be either or. Or, I mean, the idea is, if this is the only either or one, these are conveying the idea that I can only go this direction from this area. It should all be the same arrow symbol. There is actually, I will let you know, there is one that Johan actually used that I can get behind. Even though I think that it could or could not be useful, like super useful in the very end, but yeah. Where is this? Here we go. Boom! Slope. See that double arrow? That indicates that once you go down that path, you can't come back up it. So, like, that's what that's used for. Where, like, if I go down this slope, I'm stuck down in that area. You're aiming to make a devil's lair, like make from the Markberg website. Make a devil's lair, like make from the report website. Not entirely sure. Let me see. Breath. Yeah, I think this has really got to adhere a bit more to the format that we were talking about. If we go with that, right, like, I think what you're running into right now, you see how much empty space there is on the page right here? Or, like, over here? I think if you were to... I would really encourage you to try and focus on getting as much information onto a page as you can, and then go and experiment with the layout and like kind of odd stuff, right? Like map from the... Oh yeah, oh, you're good. I would focus on trying to just get the text on the page and convey that before we start focusing on, you know, artwork, all that. Just, I mean, we got people that are delivering it as a Google Doc that are like killing it, absolutely killing it, because they're hitting the prompt, right? And yeah, I think you jumped ahead and wanted to deliver the... Those are being left open for art and scan trash. I don't feel it. I don't like all information on the page. You know, there's a, yeah. If that's the thing that you were wanting to do for, like, you know, Maybe a concept for like a print book or something, it's all good. Um, for the purposes of this, though, we're just trying to get the dungeon information in there, right? Um, we just need the information to be able to tell what's going on. Um, so we have now standing around 9. Okay, these are attack trait embalmed on death. Liquid from alcohol leaving. Okay. Well, the heck can do this by. Okay. Attacks and traits, attacks and. So I would check on how consistently you're labeling these, right? Attacks and traits, attacks and abilities. Metal stat D6, mutagenic vial. It's a ranged attack against the target. If hit, pick a con save. Failure. Roll result from the following table. Okay. Okay, experiment cells, holds uncadavers. Probably felled it, who is up over here. Okay, so he's in there. So you have your other NPC that you can meet here. It's kind of checking. Yeah, that's why people do. That's why it's good to do the rough drafts and content first, and then do the layout. And like some people do the layout and then they rate. Hey, you know what? You know what? I have the layout that's set for the thing that I like it. Right? I got that set, and whenever I decided on that layout, I was like, I'm not going to waste any time by trying to do both at the same time. I also wasn't doing that for a jam. Yeah, fuck you, kid. It's so funny that like that's the thing that people are like. Whenever I'm doing work or something on stream, and people are like, "You're doing your layout at the same time as you're doing it," and I'm like, "Kinda, yeah." Yeah, because I was looking at the format, right? I was trying to see the overall format as to where your trick and setback was kicking in, right? I because I can see a couple things here as we're doing the critique, because I'm not really reading through it to do like a full breakdown and review with these kinds of things. If I was doing that, these streams would go way longer than just 6 hours, right? As for what I'm seeing, I can already tell that some of this isn't really adhering to what we were talking about with like, hey, label the elements, let me see the element like down here, right? I need the easy breakdown. I need to be able to see like, okay, if I'm reading, this is the description up here. It's condensed down, nice, clean, boom, right? Okay. Here and Brett, two alchemists argue right in front of each other's masks. Over who should get the glaive of the recently exhumed corpse in the mortuary. The preparation table holds a recently exhumed corpse with an engraved glaive. It does D8 plus 1 damage. If both are returned to its resting place, the recently bereaved family pays a hefty reward. Okay. Okay. So this is just like a situation that's here, you know? Can we point out which rooms match the 5-room structure, or are you using the logic of if it isn't obvious? Bingo! Yep, I should be able to intuit it. Embalming room. And if anything, if it's spelled out like too clearly, no, I'm kidding. No, I mean, I should be able to see it, right? It should be a really clear, like, there we go. That's where this beat is, right? Crackstone tiling, whirring fan, both okay. Journeyman alchemist, okay. Raymond, he has the practice embalming a corpse. Stone embalming table angled downward towards the drainage hole. Macabre artist, artistic engravings currently in use. Mortuary rack holds. Misplaced key to research room. Okay, the ramp goes down. Okay. Right. Cells. Claiming featured atmosphere. This is the one where they can get released from it, right? Control system lever with cage symbol below it opens and closes cells 1 to 6. Lever with chevron symbol below it controls formaldehyde section from system. Okay. Wavy lines disables ventilation. Overseer's holding system the good share by the control system. If some players listen very carefully, they can hear the beast song. The alchemist, okay, imprisoned it. Let's read it a bit. If you suddenly start responding, it's because there's a really bad lightning storm. Sounds like you actually are somewhere around the same area as me. You sprout a second anus near your belly button. It leaks whenever you laugh. This is Merkborg. Okay. System for the vapors. Okay, so my thoughts on this right now. I would highly encourage just check out the system neutral guideline and template. I get it. I get how there's people that really feel like I want to express like the vibe and everything I'm trying to get across with my projects and everything. I really want it to look pretty. I really want XYZ thing. For the purposes of this one, it's just getting the assignment turned in, right? The additional flash and everything is something you can do to it afterwards, right? But there's been a you didn't exactly comprehend it too well. So I would recommend sticking close to just kind of turning in something that we have as usable text to judge off of, right? Because we've had a couple of them where people have been like, well, I have this concept I'd really like to do. And then we kind of see it and it's like, well, we're getting kind of far away from the prompt, right? So I think that honestly, I think the strongest part of where you like really achieve the design concept and where things hit really well, I thought this right here is executed so damn well. This is cool. You have a folded piece of paper that is like giving me that kind of grunge vibe, and everything it's being used in a way that's organizing the information, right? Like, you're making onion gravy? I hope you didn't miss anything. You're making onion gravy. That sounds like a fake food. Can I review the Uncadaver stat block? Is that the one where it releases the formaldehyde in there? Yeah, it increases the formaldehyde dose by D2. You have a gimmick for the room here that can now fluctuate based off of how much stuff is in here. So, I mean, as a minion, like, you know, 4 health, this is easy to kill. Super Cake, easy to kill. Rate Claws, D6. This is a very basic level mook right here, right? Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with this. Yeah. The only thing that I'd suggest is, like, this is probably introducing an element of tracking that, like, for me, it's not really my taste, but, you know, you have a concept. It's a UK food, so it's probably fake. Yeah, like, you have a stat block here that is going to work as your basic low-level, you know, minion kind of a thing, right? I would say that, like, if it's based around the gimmick and the gimmick is going to be this ever-changing formaldehyde like thing, well, I don't know. The more and more I see dungeon gimmicks coming up where people are bringing these up, the less comfortable I am with how they're getting executed. It's not that this is particularly hard to track. I guess you just have like a D10, right? And like that will adjust based off of, you know, that room. But yeah, I would say, you know, after the jam, or if you had time to, play test it. And I want you to take a sense as to, like, if I was going to play test this, I want to know as a GM, how likely am I going to just forget because it's not fun to track, or how easy is it for me to remember this thing, right? That's, yeah. And then we need to know, we would need to know when this triggers. When do the checks need to get made, right? Is it whenever they're first exposed? Is it, like, because this feels like it's obeying some of the poison rules of something like a 5e, right? But it also needs to make it really clear this is when that triggers, you know? At least for, if we're going with system neutrality, that's what it needs to be. But yeah. I would, like I said, I think that you have a concept that you would really, really like to do and make it feel like a Merkborg style, you know, the Nor style layouts and all that stuff. Get mechanic on the page first, and then, like, let's see that executed. Because, you know, I'm not really judging the layout. I'm not really judging who's got the best layout or anything like that. I'm just looking at the concepts, you know. I'll make graphic design cues of when things trigger. That's what's planning to do after this critique. Gotcha. Yeah, and that's kind of my thoughts on that as of right now. Also, without seeing the map, I can't really see how it all lays out and all that, but yeah. So yeah, that would be kind of my where I would say you should go from here in order to get it turned in for tomorrow. And now we have another one out, final hour draft. Okay, you want me to take a look at it again? Rue, are you still in the chat? Rue, I'm gonna make a big suggestion here that I would say, like, you should just trust me on. Get rid of the gray background. Get rid of the gray. If this is a mistake going on, if this is a mistake that's going on with, like, the Google Doc or something, but this gray makes this, yeah, please, yeah. Your map as well. Thank you. I saw that you were using a gradient on this. Yeah, there we go. The gray is going to make it hard to read. Yeah, that contrast is not enough, exactly. I did see a version of the map that was using, like, a gradient that, you know, maybe it was meant to make it look a little bit more pretty or appealing or something like that. Don't worry about that. We just want it to be readable, right? We just need these to be, this right here, perfect. See, look at that. This is clean. Yes, thank you. But whenever we start going with, like, a bunch of colors on it, it gets to be hard to read. Having the like, low contrast makes it really rough on screen readers. That much of a low contrast with a gray background feels like it's a website from the 2005. If you know, you know. Yeah. AIM days. Wait, is there, hang on. Okay. Let me see if you remember this. Let's see if that just reignited some goddamn yeah, PTSD. Whenever it was like Comic Sans and multicolors in the profiles and everything. Yeah, you want to talk about the actual first social media? It was AIM, you know. Oh man. Yeah. See, so now that you've gotten rid of that, oh, look at that. Look at that. You're only 21 though. Well, see, I think I was like 10 whenever AIM started getting really big. Like that would have been 99. Hey, Amanda. What? Oh, could you come here real quick? Oh, okay. Never mind. I was gonna ask what her AIM screen name was. Y'all are babies, you're not old, you're just too young. Hey, you know. Geez, AIM in 2007. Yeah, 2007 to 8. That was about like the last hurrah of it. And then Facebook Messenger came out and just shed all over AIM. It was like, oh, this is what social media could. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think anybody's like quite done like that. Like maybe Netflix, what Netflix did to Blockbuster, you know. You also call it AIM. You always heard it called AIM. Yeah, everyone I knew called it AIM because it was like American Online's instant messenger. Yes. Timetable. Okay. See the use of purple here? What? Oh, yeah. What was your... What? What? Oh. What was your AIM screen name? Your AIM screen name? AOL Instant Messenger?
Oh. I think my dolphin rock.
Your first AIM screen name was Dolphins Rock 99?
89.
89. Oh my god, that's funny.
And then it was T-L-8. Then it was...
Oh, we can... Yeah, we can see the arc in your goddamn teenage years over your AIM names.
Yeah.
So she said, it was Dolphins Rock 89, and then it became Tinkerbell 89 whenever you hit the Evanescence. Yeah, oh, okay, yeah. You hit the Evanescence kind of gothy phase. And then it was, what, A New Day? So that was the, like, getting out of the Evanescence phase and into the, like, oh, okay, society isn't really, like, against me as a teenager.
And all of that boyfriend.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
You can tell someone's arc of their teenage years by the AIM screen name.
Yeah, that's, like, I had or, like, singer.
Yeah. Did you have Neopets?
Oh, hell yeah. I got the fucking fairy paintbrush and everything.
Oh my god. Yeah, you are the Jenny Nicholson breed of woman. Where
I had Legolas and Aragorn all over my lips.
Yeah. Oh man, that's good.
Celtic been playing in the background.
Yeah. The next Game Jam rules will be linked from my MySpace. Yeah. To my GeoCities page. In your edgy teen years, my handle was Queef Breather. Oh my god, what a fucking name. Should be like a metal band name. What up, Seattle? We are Queef Breather! Can you DM me a very specific InDesign question that you can't figure out how to Google, but you know it's a simple answer? Could you? Well, I think you might have already. Oh, Amanda couldn't come in here because she wasn't wearing pants. Alright, let me see here. Follow to your visual feedback post. This is a new art direction for the competition, but Area 8 is misaligned. Seven, eight. It's misaligned. Layout. Hang on one sec. You can't figure out how to move a table. Hang on. Is it on the page that you shared in the Discord? This one? Oh. Are you trying to get this? No, just in general? Oh, you can't figure out how to move a table in InDesign? Or what's... Okay, so tables obey the same rules as text. If you enter it, it's in a line of text, right? So if you're changing the alignment of it, it's gonna obey the rules as if it was text. You can't figure out how to make it fit perfectly in the text box, only to resize from the right. Hang on. No. Yeah, that's not how you do it in InDesign. Hang on. Can you not uncouple the table from the text in InDesign? You can. Yeah, you can. Okay, Affinity doesn't have one on this one. Okay. Alright, here, I'll open this one again. Look, I'm all down to shit on Adobe all day long, but sorry man, you don't win this one, alright? Okay. So here's a table that I've got in InDesign, right? Okay. So there's a couple ways that I can actually change the width of the column. Right here. So like this is this column, yada yada yada, right? I could click this, change that right there. Or I go up here to this pane. Right? I usually adjust it up here unless I need it to snap. Because if I want it to snap, that's not going to be super precise, right? Now, I could cut that, and that takes it out of the text frame, right? Now, I have a different text frame that it makes if I paste it in. That's how you decouple it, right? Ked, thank you. Now, I want it back in there, though, because, yeah. However, some things to note whenever you do this, okay? There is a paragraph style being applied to this, right? So if I do something like this right here, notice how it's going to change the alignment of that table, right? If I do it this way, oh wait, shit, never mind. It's not going to do that. So the other things that could do this, and I've had this shit happen to me in the past too. I didn't realize the paragraph style that was being applied to this was also applying the space before. And that was driving me insane. There was one time, like, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Why do these tables keep spacing like this? And then I realized they had a paragraph style that was being applied to that line that was fucking up the spacing. So tables are not perfect in InDesign. In fact, I would say that they are the worst functionality in the entire piece of software. Tables, they work as a visual layout, right? But the functionality and the, by the way, Adobe, oh my God. Why is it that Affinity has figured out sort alphabetically in tables and you all still haven't? You all are supposed to be the industry standard. The fuck? You're not sure why they won't work, won't work just like the line tool or something? Oh, like making tables? Well, because like other whenever you're talking about it working like with a line tool or something like that, um, other word like layout pieces of software. Oh, sorry. God. Um, other bits of these layout softwares are usually handling that because it's shapes, right? Like a freeform table. Yeah, like they're usually handling that as shapes. So if I go to like Illustrator, that's making a table that is like a vector, right? Um, I mean, Affinity can't manually sort them though. Can't wait. What? No, Affinity can sort alphabetically. Can't manually sort them though. I'm not sure what that's. Um. Oh, we're gonna make sure. Are you planning to go through yours or no? You just want to make sure. Oh, I. Oh. Oh shit. Wait, what? Oh fuck. Well, sorry guys, I gotta cut this short. We got a tornado. Hey everyone. Yep. That's actually a warning here in the area. I've got to get and split. Y'all have a great night. I'm gonna go hide in the bathroom. Later!